Hello, welcome back to, I guess, now the belated 500 subscriber special, or at least it probably will be belated once I'm done with it. But today's going to be more of a grab bag of a couple different small things, mainly because the new database isn't still released for public yet. It's still in kind of like a open beta phase, so going to give it another week, see if they're going to push that forward or not, because it's been a couple weeks now, and so I'm a little hesitant to like work on platforms as far as modifying their sensors and weaponry, just in case the database update changes that. Likewise, I didn't have time, unfortunately, to go through the Chinese air bases like I wanted to and decide what to keep, what to toss to optimize the scenario. So between those two, and I don't really want to add the land-based aircraft until I decided what bases I'm keeping and what's going to be stationed at what bases. So today is going to be, like I said, just kind of a little grab bag. Scenario time. So let's say, I don't know what the newest. We'll just say 2035. And we'll say it's like, actually, I imagine Taiwan doesn't have an Independence Day, but maybe they have like a Republic Day or something. National Day, October 10th. All right. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna set this local time. We'll say 10 o'clock. Lasts for 24 hours. Difficulty. Yeah. Let's say complexity 3, difficulty 4. Alright, so that'll give kind of like some context to it. So it's going to be like a freedom of navigation. Actually, you know what? Let's do the day before. With the expectation that the group would have arrived at the Taiwan Strait or the Strait of Taiwan on National Day. Title and description, we can ignore that for now. Weather, this is really the big thing. 15C to F in October. Let me see what an average temperature would be. Let's see, Taipei, Taiwan, 71, 81. For October, okay. So now I gotta convert it to Celsius, because temperature is the one thing I have difficulty using metric for in everyday life. I'm an unusual American. I love metric, millimeters, and whatnot. But when it comes to temperature, it's always a little. So let's say 75 FC. I can never quite get the like Celsius in my head. At least it makes sense to me. I understand it. I get it. It's just the like when I hear a number in Celsius, I'm not like, oh, that's hot or oh, that's cold, as quickly as I am with Fahrenheit. You know, where someone says 60 Fahrenheit, I know exactly what that is. 18 Celsius, I have to think on that a little bit. We'll say sea state 3, so not the calmest, not the worst. I assume each one corresponds to one sea state. Sky, well, some clouds, no rain. I'm not going to bother with that this time. Level, oh, that's right, they added it. I don't know if it's available in the commercial or the consumer version, but I think they did add the possibility to add different weather layers, so you could simulate like local weather here and then local weather there, uh, which obviously for like a region or theater wide conflict can make a difference if maybe it's bright and sunny where your special forces group needs support, but maybe all your air bases are under a tornado alert or something, and they're all like 300 miles away. So, gives you a little more flexibility there. Briefing, I don't think we're going to bother with that just yet. Scenario features: detailed gunfire control, aircraft damage. We're going to keep realistic subcoms off. Effects of terrain type advanced, communication disruption, weather affects ship speed. Okay. So I'm generally prefer to make stuff as realistic as possible. For the most part. Like, obviously, submarine comms is the one thing, just because for this, I want to be able to tell them, hey, come up to the surface, fire tomahawks. Like, there's not like, we're going to go off the basis that there's like, hey, if something happens, maybe we roll over a depth charge at 300 feet, or like 3 depth charges at 300 feet, to signal you to come up or something. Because obviously the thing with submarines is below a certain depth, you can't really communicate with them. The water blocks radio waves. Even like the nuclear subs, when they're at their station keeping depth, you need special planes that have like these mile-long antenna in order to transmit on a very low frequency, which can better penetrate the water. And even then, they can only penetrate like up to a couple hundred feet, and they can only send brief text messages. So, let's see what else. I thought there was going to be something else here, but that might have been. Oh, that might have been it. Campaigns. That's what I would like to do eventually, is create. Obviously, I can't do it with a big. At least I'm not going to start doing it with a big scenario like this, but maybe have a campaign eventually that I'll make. Or it's just a series of small engagements that add up over time. Scenario description. That seems redundant. I suppose this is viewing it rather than writing it. EMCOM. I'll wait on that. I do not care for EMCOM as far as like going through the menus and the engagement stuff. Let's see. I think we're good for most of this. I guess I'll change that. I'm not sure what it changes, but maybe it just gives you more estimates. Like, hey, you have this much time in range at this speed, this much time in range at that speed. Let's see. Postures, unfriendly. That's weapon release authorization. That'll wait. So I don't want to make some of the mistakes that happened with the last scenario, like with the obviously at some point our SM6 engagement logic got messed up. The Chinese were just immediately shooting missiles. Things were just not working right. Excuse me. So I think the only thing left is for today's shorter episode is we're going to add in satellites. Now, again, this is another thing I'm going to have to call in order to provide only the relevant satellites. Excuse me. But, is it from here, or do they load in from a different place? Let's see, U.S. ICBM, shot and carrier groups, radars, ballistic missile sites. There is a way to add in satellites. I just gotta. Hope it's not through there. It's been so long I can't remember. Should be in the editor. Where is it though? I would think it'd be the in here. It's nice that it lets you add Cold War bases too for certain scenarios. That's a nice touch. So you can say, "Oh, it got reactivated." Various ship groups. Oh, okay. So these are like all the various U.S. bases. Actually, we can just add in the Philippines right there. That'll be easier than me doing my thing. ICBM, radars, radar stations, sector operations. I don't see satellites though. Somalia, South Guam. Is there a space? No. I looked at China, but I don't think they had like a satellite thing. They have air defense radars, Beijing, EW, certain geographic locations, the South China Island reefs, and then some airports, single unit airports. Oh, we'll load the selected installations, which I don't know how detailed they're going to be. Pretty detailed. I suppose if I really wanted to, I could have Air Force support, which... I don't know if I want to do that, though. Besides just adding a bunch of complexity and scope creep. Put a pin in that for now. Does this include the port facilities, though? Because I see it's a naval air station specifically. Aviation. Yeah, I don't think that adds the port, so... I'll probably have to add that in anyways. Or actually... here we go. Add satellites. Frickin' A. Add China. Add United States. And thankfully that didn't add because I just realized I'd be adding the US and China satellites to this side, so... Oh, thank God. So first of all, load units from file. US, Philippines, Cold War database. Not using... Okay. Okay, so you can't actually use these. They're just... it's just one import interface for both the Cold War and DB3000 databases. Okay. I'm going to kick off port creation to another episode, though. Anyways, add satellites. So let's start with adding the US. And I have... No, it looks like I'm going to have to add them manually. Alright. Okay, it actually confirms. I wonder when it adds them, if it's actually like calculating where the where they would be based on their current orbits, like with relation to the scenario time. That'd be kind of cool if they did. All right. Enrolls has many more satellites than that, I think, in orbit, but... And again, we're going to have to go through these and determine which ones we want to keep based on what... based on which ones are actually going to be applicable to the scenario. If you got a satellite orbiting Antarctica, I don't... that obviously doesn't apply to the scenario. So we can remove that, just to speed things up, but... One, two, three, four, five. There we go. So now we'll switch sides. And I do just want to see the destroyers and cruisers possibly bag a few satellites with their SM-3 too. The scenario also just feels less improbable because recently in Ukraine they claim, it's got to be confirmed still obviously, but the claim is that Ukraine managed to intercept hypersonic cruise missiles with Patriot battery, which if that's true, then that's going to be a really good thing for our naval battle group here when the Chinese roll out their hypersonic cruise missiles, of which I think they have a few in this scenario. There's a couple hybrids I know, at least that I had in the original scenario, where they were like subsonic for most, and then in the terminal phase they went hypersonic, or close to terminal phase they went hypersonic. But I don't know how many, and maybe the new database updates will add to this, but I don't know how many will be true hypersonic with like a maneuverable warhead in the terminal phase. That's what we're gonna have to find out. So really the biggest threat was ballistic missiles, anti-ship ballistic missiles, of which every time we tested, our battle group pretty much managed to handle them very well. I think only once did, in one test, did the Chinese ASBMs actually hit our battle group. So, well, that's going to be it for today's episode. A bit shorter, I know, but I got a lot of legwork to do that I just got to get around that. I'm really hoping they update the DB3K soon so I can kind of lock into using that, but until then, thank you all for watching and stay tuned for next time and stay safe out there and we'll see you then.